'Cause I like the way the story ends. There's a history to the night and I just let it sink in. I am alive again. I can touch the stars, or I can fall apart if you let go. There is something to the way your head rests on my window as I drive you home. Oh, what a feeling, just a fight for a reason. Then you twist and you turn and you crash and you burn, but you know that you didn't. Oh.
Hey everyone! I just got done with my Korean class, which I take every Sunday. And then I usually go find a cafe. I like the alley, is what it's called, on Garosubil, because the upstairs usually is pretty quiet. So I can go there and study for a little bit and get that done. And now we're going to go to Olympic Park because it's pretty nice out. It is a little chilly. We had a cold front that came in yesterday, but I think I should be able to see some fall colors today, which will be awesome.
Then you twist and you turn and you crash and you burn, but you know that you didn't. I can see the sunlight coming just around the bend. I see a new day start to rise up as the night begins to end. So I won't ask you no more questions. I'll try to stay asleep and just me. Yeah, just me, Oh, what a feeling, just a fight for a reason. Then you twist and you turn and you crash and you burn, but you know that you did. Oh, what a feeling, just a fight for a minute. 'Cause you shine and you fade and it hurts either way, but you know that you did it. Oh, 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 I can see the sunlight coming just around the bend. I see a new day start to rise up as the night begins to end. So I won't ask you no more questions. I'll try to stay asleep and just me. Yeah, just me, sunlight coming just around the bend. I see a new day start to rise up as the night begins to end. So I won't ask you no more questions. I'll try to stay asleep and just me. Yeah, just me there.
Hey guys, so I'm just sitting in Olympic Park right now. You can kind of see things around me. But a couple of questions that I got. So I had someone asking me where exactly that I'm located now. And I am actually located in Seoul. So more specifically, I live in Itaewon. And asking about approximately how many people live here. In Seoul, it's almost, as of this last year, it's almost 10 million that live in the Seoul area. So it is definitely a lot more than where I was living previously in Iowa. But that means that there's a lot of things to see and a lot of things to do and a lot of different foods to try, which is awesome. Since we still are dealing with the lovely, then we have social distancing rules, and there are certain times that places have to close, and so that's also why we're still masked outside, which today it's a little cold, so it feels nice, honestly. I had a few people that wrote and said, so what are you actually doing? A lot of people think that when you go to another country, you're teaching English. I am actually teaching art still, so I'm teaching elementary art, and it's been just amazing. The school has been awesome. My kids are really cool. The hardest part right now is trying to memorize everyone's names because they're all completely new to me, and I see them once a week with how we rotate the sections. But that's how it's been so far, and yeah. So the next question that I had with what brought me here I actually fell in love with K-pop and K-dramas. Yes, very cliche, I know. So my friend Courtney, who I went to college with, we both around the same time were starting to actually learn the language at home right before everything got locked down and we didn't have school. So I had a ton of time that I was able to practice and start to study. But the more I was trying to study at home, I was running into the fact that I couldn't really practice like speaking on my own. I could practice like grammar points and writing, but I couldn't actually be speaking. So that was a little bit tough. And so I was like, man, it'd be really awesome to be able to go visit. And was really lucky that I have other friends from my sorority in college that are teaching abroad as well and are at international schools. So I was able to pick the brain of my sorority sister Abby and ask her so many questions. I think I kept her on Facebook Messenger for about 3 hours and asked her so many questions. And then from there, she got me onto Search Associates. She let me know about that website. And that's really what I used. I went on to Search Associates. I also looked at international school reviews to check out some schools and see what other teachers had said about those schools. And from there, I went through with putting my resume on there, getting my letters of recommendation. I think I had to have 4, and getting everything set up and waiting to see job postings. After I had posted on there, that's when I just kind of was waiting. I knew I wanted to go to Korea, and I was fine with waiting a couple of years if I needed to be able to find a job here. And I had a list from looking at schools and looking at their stats on Search Associates and from International School Review. I had kind of my list of my top 5 that if they had a job, I really wanted to apply there, and got very lucky that one of my top 5 had a job that got posted. I applied, and the rest is history. I got a few questions about what the flight was like and then what it was like getting my dog Toby here. I actually talk a little bit about the flight in one of my previous videos, so I can put that up here so you can check it out, as well as I have a video all about the process of getting Toby that you can check out. That process, because I had to do my 2-week quarantine, I knew that with a bigger dog, I didn't want him to have to deal with being inside for 2 weeks. So he came 2 weeks after me with a relocation company, and they were able to make the process pretty smooth. I just stress because he's my baby, but they were able to help get him here. I know right now we're having some issues because I still follow Shin Dogs Air, who's the company in Korea that helped get everything worked out with Toby. They've been talking about issues with the airlines, so I know right now it's kind of hit and miss, but I have what it was like for me in that video that you can check out. I just know it's a little bit different right now because some airlines are cracking down on what you can and cannot do with getting dogs on flights. I got the question about what it's been like with the language barrier and trying to get around without reading Korean. I would say if you are planning on coming to Korea, I would try to learn Hangul, their writing system. Actually, learning Hangul does not take that long, and then it makes it so much easier because if you see writing and you're confused by what it says, if you get an app like Papago is my favorite, you can actually type it in. You can get the Korean keyboard on your phone and you can just type it in, and then you can see what it is. So at least being able to read it and then type it in to a translation app like Papago is great. Otherwise, they also have it where on Papago you can just take a picture of text and then it will show you what that text says, which is really nice. If I get like a text message like a package has been delivered or I need to do something with it, I can just make sure that I know what that text message says. Other than that, since I'm Definitely not fluent. I have like survival mode language skills. It's been fine. It hasn't been too bad. I know that there's times I get frustrated, but I think I'm more frustrated with myself because I want to be able to learn as quickly as possible, just because I feel like it's on me if I'm living here that I should be able to communicate in their native language because I'm a foreigner. So it's been fine, and especially in the Itaewon area and in Seoul, it's easier because a lot of people can speak English, or again, you can pull out Papago and then figure things out, or hand signal about things. But it is definitely doable, but I would say it is best to learn Hangul if you're trying to come, just to make sure you understand what different signs are. And it's very helpful if you're trying to take public transportation. They do say most things in English, but I found sometimes if I'm on the bus or I'm in the subway, it can be a little muffled sometimes and I can't hear it. So being able to read it and match it on like my Kakao maps is very helpful. My typical daily routine then is I get up probably around like 5:30, 5:40 if I sleep in a little bit. And I will take Toby outside so he can go on a quick little walk, take care of business. And then I get home, I get ready for school. We do have school transportation that I could take, but it shows up at 6:30. And I find it just easier that I will take public transportation because it's maybe a 6-minute walk up a hill to get to the buses. And I just hop on that and it takes me maybe 5 minutes to get to the bus stop right in front of school. I walk up the little hill for school and I'm there. So I usually am walking to the bus stop around 6:45, 6:50. And then from there, I get to school usually around like 7:05, 7:10, depending on what time the bus gets there. And then I have 1st through 5th grade. Each day I have a prep period. Since we have 4 sections, I might have like a prep period one day that's for 1st grade during like the 1st grade time. The next day might be 2nd grade, next day 3rd grade, and so on. So I have all of my classes. Certain days I have lunch duty or morning duty if I have it that week. And then after school, depending on the day, it changes. So after school on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, I get home from school, I take Toby outside, and then on those days I go to my trainer. He is about 5 minutes away. Their gym's about 5 minutes away from where I live. And Mondays and Thursdays are kind of whatever I choose for them to be, and the weekends are whatever I choose for them to be, so that's why I'm checking out the park today. Do I drive over here? Definitely not. I could get a driver's license over here, and they drive on the same side of the road. However, I have no wish to do that. That was actually one of the things that I did not mind giving up. I was happy to give up because I hate driving in the winter with ice and just dealing with other cars. I don't miss that a bit, so I am totally fine with taking public transit. The buses and the subway systems are super slick here. I love that they will tell you like down to the minute what time the bus is going to arrive, easily finding ways to hop from one bus to another or transfer onto the subway line. Very easy. So I probably won't end up driving. I know there's a few other teachers that have little like mopeds, and so they got their driver's license so they could do that. So far I've been fine with public transit, and I probably will keep doing public transportation. I had someone comment and ask what the weather was like when I put the questions up on Instagram for people to ask what questions they had. And the weather, I would say it's pretty similar to Iowa. I would say their winters might be a little more mild. They might be kind of more like Kansas. But their rain and like the precipitation comes at a different time. So during Iowa winters, we get a lot of snow, or it depends on the year, but we typically get more snow and it sticks around. Whereas here I've been told, and I've kind of checked it out, that it looks like they don't get near as much precipitation, and when they do, it's rare for it to stay around for more than like a day or two. So if they do get snow, you'll see people like running out to go make little snowmen, and they're usually melting by the end of the day. It can still get really cold, it's just that they don't get a lot of precipitation, and then when they do, usually it tends to be, since they are getting precip, it tends to be a little bit warmer, so it doesn't stick around. They get more of their precipitation in like July into August when it's typhoon season. We didn't get a ton of rain during July when I got here. We got some off and on for August and September, but it was fine. I know they had a few patches of flooding down south, but since Seoul is more northern in South Korea, we really just had rain, and that was it. I decided to start moving because I was freezing. So we'll start to walk around the park just because it'll help to warm me up. Questions that I got, of course, I had quite a few people that were asking how Toby is doing, because Toby's super important. So Toby is doing great. He gets to have lots and lots of walks. We usually walk, like I said, in the morning, at night, and after school. And then one of those, we will have like a longer walk. Or if it's a day where maybe we had a long walk the day prior, we might just have a few like smaller walks throughout the day. But he's doing great. I think he has fully figured out that that is our new home, and as long as Mama is there, he is fine with being wherever. I think the moving process, he was stressed out on the front end because he could tell something was going on, especially as I was selling stuff in the house and getting rid of it. So that made him a little stressed, but after he got here, right away, it was like he was fine. And I had people asking me how I'm doing, if I'm homesick. Honestly, I'm not homesick, but part of that is because technology is wonderful, and with the time difference, I'm talking to my family every day. I had to pause. I wanted to have my wits about me as I crossed the road. Always a good thing to pay attention. But I'm doing fine. We talk every day. My morning, when I usually call, is their afternoon. So they'll tell me about how their day was and what they did that day. I usually don't have much to say because I will have just woken up at that point in time. But then when I take Toby on our nightly walk, that's when they are just waking up. And so I will tell them all about my day, and they, having just woken up, will just kind of like listen. So it's perfect. We talk all the time. They get to FaceTime and see Toby. We don't have to worry about international calling fees since we have iPhones. And so we just talk on there, and it's free, which is awesome. Thank you, Apple. But otherwise, my brother has an Android phone. So we talk actually on Facebook Messenger, and it's the same case where it's free because we are just over the internet. If they're over the internet, they don't have to worry about like data, and I have unlimited data, so I'm totally fine with if I'm out and about and just calling in and seeing what they're doing. I had several people that asked what my plans are then. If I'm just going to be here for a year, or am I going to come back to Iowa? And actually, my initial contract is for 2 years. So for sure, I'll be here for 2 years. But I love it, and I'm learning the language because I want to stay here long term. My school has been wonderful. I'm really excited to have these kids for several years. They were asking me because their teacher prior was here for 2 years. And they were like, are you going to be here for 2 years? Or how long are you going to be here? And I just told them I have no plans on leaving. So I'll be here for the foreseeable future. I'm hoping with my language classes I would love to become fluent. I highly doubt it. I think that would take a couple of years. So hopefully we can eventually get there. But even at the end of this year, it'd be nice to have it just at least broken Korean would be wonderful. It has been a little bit harder because since everyone's wearing masks, I can't see people's mouths when they're talking. And so sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I could see their mouth. It might be easier to understand what they're saying, but it helps me with having to really tune in and try to figure out from context clues if I catch a couple of the words to figure it out with what they were saying. And so that's pretty much been it so far. Those were the questions that people wrote in on Instagram. Thank you to those that wrote in on Instagram or Facebook. That was super awesome. Part of me making videos is just kind of like a video diary for myself so that I can see what places looked like, especially if I went to go back, which is awesome. And then I'll remember what those places look like. But also, like, it is nice to keep in touch with people that I don't get to see face to face anymore, because it's not even like we're in the same state. We are not even in the same country. So it's kind of nice to just check in and be able to hear how they're doing and let you guys know how I'm doing too. So yeah.
You sat in the shower while I washed off your clothes. But isn't that what friends are for? Even if we used to be more like lovers or partners.